Hello, everyone. So I want to just talk about, and we talked about a lot on this channel over the last week or so since this incident happened in Virginia, the chaos that erupted in Virginia. And, I briefly touched on it because I didn't know at the time was it true or false, and we know now the answer. The Gardaí said they were there within 10 minutes, when this happened in Virginia, when the violence happened with these young bucks in Virginia. The Gardaí said they were there within 10 minutes. And to be totally honest with you, a lot of people did say it, and the media said it too, the within 10 minutes. But now we have hearing in the media, in the Anglo South, particularly this week, that the Gaudi could have took an hour or more to come to this incident. And of course, a lot of it was probably bad timing too, because of what happened at Ballyjim stuff at the same time. There was a hit and run, and the Gaudi were kind of distracted. There's not enough resources. One of the local councillors, TP O'Reilly, have literally said it yesterday, has admitted the obvious that the Gaudi in West Cavan, East Cavan, do not have the resources. And the same even West Cavan, who is not much better. But the Gaudi in East Cavan don't have the resources in Baileybo Garda Station. There's no full-time Gaudi in Virginia, etc. There used to be years ago, now there's not. It's only Baileybo Garda Station that's open in that area. And simply they were overwhelmed with what was happening at Ballygym stuff with the accident, just around the same time, literally the same time. And of course, the air ambulance had to come for that young lassie, etc. So they were overwhelmed, the Gaudi, and they haven't got enough cars and they haven't got enough resources, they haven't got enough officers. So basically, it took over an hour. Going by my information, it took an hour for the Gaudi to turn up on the streets of Virginia, the main street of Virginia, after the call was made that there was people running amok around Virginia. It took over an hour for the Gaudi to turn up. And that's just the simple truth that they did take over an hour. Beforehand, we didn't know, but a lot of people are saying it, that were there in Virginia and stuff. I briefly touched on it before, but we didn't know at the time. Because my information, what I had, that a lot of the Gaudi did leave from that accident in the Ballygym stuff and looking for the person that fled the scene, went to the scene, because Ballygym was only 10 minutes away from Virginia. And of course, the Gaudi just didn't have the resources to deal with the two big incidents, because these were two big incidents. We're talking about the hit and run, and then we're talking about widespread public disorder involving maybe 10 to 15 males, etc., in multiple locations across Virginia, at Tesco's on the main street there, beside the bridge, and then of course at Lochrammer too. The Gaudi were overstretched basically. The Gaudi were overwhelmed. The amount of cars going into the Gaudi too were overwhelming on Garda Síochána. And the simple truth, and it's been said in the Anglo South by one of the parents of the children that was hurt, that they rang the district, the regional district with the emergency sector, and they were told there's no Gardaí to send, there's no cars to send, so they couldn't send anybody. And they said the ambulance turned up, the ambulances were there quick enough, but the Gaudi wouldn't, they didn't have the Gaudi, it was that just didn't have it. And of course, all the councillors were saying how terrible, etc. But this is the thing, and this is the serious thing, that this is not new. This is something that I've been yapping about and yapping about and yapping about for the last must be nearly 10 years at this point. I've been yapping and saying about Garda stations that are not open in Cavan, etc. that were open years ago, and the lack of Gaudi in Cavan too, because a lot of Gaudi have left. They won't put any. A lot of Gaudi have retired or resigned over many different things, but not even that alone too. All the new Gaudi are going to Dublin. There's maybe 4 or 5 new Gaudi. I think last time when there was recruitment, when they got out of Templemore, there was 2 new Gaudi given to Cavan. Two new Gaudi. We might have lost about 20. Here's 2 of them. But yeah, it's overwhelming, the Gaudi, basically. The system is overwhelmed. And of course, bringing all these new people into is not helping the situation. Again, of course, we have our own people too that are causing issues, etc. But the simple reality is that the justice system in this country is fucked. It's simple as that, and it's fucked, and the Gaudi are fucked. Because if somebody sets up an offensive online, the Gaudi would be there in 10 minutes, let's be fair. They would bust themselves to get there. If somebody said something mean online about somebody, the Gaudi would go out of the way. They would send in the army if necessary. But long story short, this country is banjoed in terms of this, and I do think we should look about it. But the simple reality is a lot of people don't want to join on Garda Síochána anymore, because Garda Síochána now has betrayed the people many, many times over, and people do see it, and you see it in the public, that a lot of people have lost trust in the Gardaí. And of course, there has to be ways, if the Gardaí can't protect people in Virginia, and take for example other people in Category, we're not just talking about Virginia here, we're talking about Mulla, we're talking about Kingscourt, we're talking about that area too, we're talking about all of Cavan, but particularly in that area. Then they have to form citizens groups really. They nearly would have to form citizens groups if they can't protect their children and their land and their family. They have to form citizens groups. So why did that we get in the army? we don't have much of an army left, but either they form a national guard in this county to protect people, if that's necessary, because at the end of the day, it's unacceptable it took an hour, because God knows there could have been many people killed in Virginia. Thankfully there wasn't. And the Gaudi would have been an hour away, you know. Anyway, Lou, let me know what you think. Let's go have more and bye.